since this is a science course, you should probably know what the goal of science is. It's basically to use the knowledge we have to predict the future, right? Discover the patterns in nature, use those patterns to predict what's going to happen next, right? So a hurricane hits Florida one year, hurricane hits Florida the next year, hurricane hits Florida the next year. Guess what's going to happen the year after that? Hurricane's probably going to hit Florida. Now there's two words that all scientists, or at least people who have taken a science class, should know: hypothesis and theory. The hypothesis is an untested explanation. Right? Something you just guessed. Right? Whereas the theory actually tests that explanation and finds out if it's right or not. So a theory is a well-tested view that explains certain facts. Okay, so you have to test it and test it again and test it again and test it again and test it again and test it again. When we talk about science and nature, there's different spheres that we talk about. First one is my favorite. It's the hydrosphere. Probably by the end of the course it's going to be your favorite too, because it's the one we talked about a lot. Hydrosphere is basically water, right? Dynamic mass of water continually on the move. So just water. Usually when people say hydrosphere, they think ocean. Right? Because if you look at our globe, it's water, right? Mostly ocean. 71% of our surface is ocean. Right? And the ocean actually takes up 97% of all of our water. So usually hydrosphere, ocean. Oh yeah. However, there's more than just ocean, because it's any dynamic mass of water continually on the move, right? So that also means streams, lakes, as well as glaciers. Glaciers are constantly moving, even though they move a little bit slower than lakes and streams. And then there's a whole big underground movement of water. So that's also included in the hydrosphere. The atmosphere is another big one that we're going to talk about, because we're meteorology, the study of the atmosphere, right? And this one, it looks like, oh, you've only got 2 bullet points on that. Well, trust me, we're going to talk about the atmosphere the whole course. So, however, this first one just kind of describes it all, right? Life-giving gaseous envelope. It's a little bit dramatic, but it explains it. I mean, that's all you need to say. Life-giving gaseous envelope. Thin little layer, like an envelope around the globe, full of gas, and without it, we'd all be dead. So, life-giving, right? Now, obviously, it does a lot. Specifically, our weather and climate, right? Which is basically the rest of the book. Biosphere. This is one you don't really think of when you think of atmosphere, but yes, we're going to cover it. And so it includes all life. Now, all of this life, it's a little bit, well, it's not even thicker than our atmosphere. It's a very, very thin surface. Most of it is concentrated at the surface of the Earth, right? Where do we live? On the surface. Now, there's animals that live in the water. There's animals that live on the ocean floor. And that's about it, right? It's basically ocean floor to part of the atmosphere. The geosphere, not one we're really going to be talking about too much here, but just since we were covering the spheres, it's the solid Earth, right, so the rocks. Meteorology is a part of Earth science, and there's a whole other Earth science course that you can take, very good, but meteorology is just a sub-part of it. So if you go take the Earth science, that sub-part that you're actually going to study, I think it's the first couple weeks of the course, you'll have that down, no problem, right? Because meteorology, what else is part of Earth science? Environmental science, the relationship between the Earth and us. This also comes into play when you're talking meteorology, right? Because meteorology affects, or the atmosphere, the weather affects us, and we affect it, right? So natural hazards, resources, and people. So some people think, okay, this is how we affect the Earth, you know, there's a little tiny Earth, we're in control of everything. Some people think, well, we definitely affect the Earth, see, there's the Earth and the giant buildings that we build on top of it. And then some people are on the other end where there's the Earth and there's the person, right? Personally, I'm kind of over here, and these are the other two extremes.